I don't know why you dragged us out to the middle of nowhere.
Come on, change is good sometimes.
I get that, but we could have been happy doing our usual theme park thing. We could be waiting for illuminations as we speak.
We can't always be at a theme park. Besides, I think I might have the next best thing. Here, try this.
I seriously doubt a cup of coffee can make me any happier about our little adventurous expedition you have us on, let alone make me forget we passed up the Magic Kingdom for this.
Would you stop talking for 2 seconds and just try it?
Whoa, this is good. Like, really good. Where'd you find this, Starbucks?
Nope, this is Expedition Roasters, the artisanal roasters of specialty pop culture inspired coffees. You happen to be drinking Enchanted Tiki Coconut.
Wait, these are theme park inspired?
Yep, honestly, it's the next best thing to actually being in the parks.
What other flavors do they have?
If you want to embrace your inner Haunted Mansion, they have some Happily Never After, which features flavors of New Orleans pralines. And if you want to do your best Dapper Dan impression, you can grab some Main Street USA Colombian. And the best part is that all of their coffees are gluten-free and allergen-free.
That's fantastic. Let me see the bag. Whoa, these bags don't look like any other coffee I've seen.
That's because each one of the bags has unique custom artwork by guest artists. It makes it a little more fun to display in the kitchen than a boring bag.
That's cool. They're almost collectible. We're gonna have to buy more when we get home.
Well, since you like this one so much, maybe when we get home we can go to expeditionroasters.com and buy some more great coffee and maybe some fun mugs and shirts, too.
This means we can have theme park magic every day of the week. This is the next best thing.
Do you feel a little better now? You're caffeinated and you have a little bit of the parks here with you.
Much better. Maybe being out in nature isn't so bad after all. But I may prefer the animatronic animals better. This coffee may be the only type of adventure I need in my life. Start your expedition today at expeditionroasters.com and use coupon code DUO15 to save 15% off any purchase of Expedition Roasters themed coffees. Brew your happy place. Expedition Roasters, an adventure in every bag.
Hi, and welcome to the Theme Park Duo podcast. Grab your park map, churro, and hop in line with us as we take you on a coast-to-coast adventure through the world of theme parks, haunts, conventions, and more. Now, here's your hosts, Nikki and Gabriel.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Theme Park Duo podcast. I'm Nikki.
And I'm Gabe.
And we are
the Theme Park Duo.
And we have a fantastic episode today. We are going to discuss our top 5 IPs that we would like to see at Halloween Horror Nights.
Yes, and we have our friend James on the show from the Creepy Kingdom podcast, as well as Foolish Mortals, the fantastic Haunted Mansion documentary all about Haunted Mansion fans.
He does a lot.
He does do a lot. He's kind of all over the place. Also, his girlfriend is Shannon, who also runs Nightmarish Conjurings, and she's all over the place too. So just inherently, just because they're dating, he's all over the place as well.
Yes.
So it's like double. It's like double all over the place. It's craziness.
I'm glad we just have one thing.
Yes.
Yeah. But kudos to them. I couldn't do it.
This thing.
Yeah.
This thing. What we do when haunt season rolls around, it gets kind of nutsos.
This year it won't.
It will
for a different reason.
Wah, wah, wah. Damn it, baby. Already causing problems.
It was our fault for not being able to count 9 months.
That's true.
So,
whoops.
No blame to place but our own.
Exactly. So. Well, this is going to be quite a long episode. We're recording this right now. We recorded actually with James a couple days ago, just the way scheduling worked out, and we talked quite a long time about the IPs that we were hoping to see at Halloween Horror Nights, as well as some other interesting topics that you'll hear a little bit later.
We tangent, but we always do, but it's okay.
We tangented real hard.
It's very interesting.
We tangented hard.
Yeah. So let's get to the news real quick.
Yeah, so let's jump into the Theme Park Bulletin.
Okay, so first off, we have news right out of the Wizarding World of Harry Potter.
Your favorite.
It is my favorite, and it gives me an excuse to lug my wand all the way over there again
because it's so heavy.
It's so difficult.
Unaccommodating.
Yeah. But they have 2 new interactive wand experiences.
Well, they're going to have them.
Oh, they're going to have them. Yes, beginning June, sometime in June.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. Well, for summer, for the summer stuff that they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they are going to be unveiling 2 brand new wand experiences.
Which brings the count up to 15.
15. Okay, I'm going to read the little thing.
Okay, Nikki's going to read the blurb, everybody.
Yeah. Blurb. Okay.
Oh, jeez. That was aggressive. That was a very aggressive blurb.
I'm psyching myself up. Okay.
Blurb.
Okay, here we go. Don't laugh at me.
It was funny.
Blurb.
That's it. Moving on.
Okay. With a gentle flick of the wrist and just the right touch, guests can cast spells throughout the wizarding world of Harry Potter at dazzling wand magic locations. This summer's installation of 2 additional spells ups the tally to 15 thrilling wand magic experiences. The Incendio fire-making spell will conjure flames of varying size based on skill level, and the Alohomora spell will unlock a series of intricate locks that may reveal the fiery breath of a creature hidden behind a secret door.
Interesting.
Oh, I wonder where they'll place these.
I don't know. I feel like the fire one needs to be kind of in an open area.
Yeah.
Because that could be very dangerous.
Maybe they'll put something where that big door to nowhere is.
Maybe.
Maybe that's where the creature behind the door will be. The Alohomora one.
Well, the creature on the other side of the door now is
Shrek.
It's
no,
Poe.
It's Poe.
It's Poe.
But they might be able to, what, 4 feet? All they need to
they have
make an
room, but I
experience.
don't think they'd put it there just because that's like a pretty big pathway coming from the other side of the building. So they might not just put it there.
There's like nothing there right now, though.
I know.
Yeah.
And just in my mind, just with flow of traffic
Yeah.
and stuff, they might not want to pack that area over there. But
other
honestly,
area.
I have no idea where they would put
It's the
it.
only open area left.
Maybe it's going to be past the castle or something.
Or maybe they'll take away the useless former photo op area next to the Hogwarts Express that's now a tiny little useless gift shop and make that one of the spell locations.
I doubt they're going to take out something that makes them money.
It's useless.
I understand what
It's tiny.
I get it. There was cool stuff in there.
Well, it's all the Hogwarts Express related stuff.
I think it's a better use of their space.
Then the picture, yeah.
Yeah, I thought so. That's
Yeah.
my opinion.
I'm worried about space. I am concerned, and I want them to be.
You should
good
write them a letter.
locations.
You should write them a letter.
I'll send it by owl. It'll get there shortly.
You know, I gave you this piece of news to read because I can't read the stupid, words.
Spells?
Yeah,
Yes,
the
I
spells.
know.
In whatever Eos or
Say
whatever.
Alohomora.
I could say that because I've said it before.
Say incendio.
Incendio.
You can say it, but you
I
probably
guess I'm just lazy.
No, I think just reading it puts extra pressure. You know what they are because when I say it, you can say it, but
Alohomora.
you said that wrong on purpose.
That's true, I did.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on. That's exciting.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And next piece of news, Nikki.
Yeah.
Nikki.
Yeah.
The countdown to the extinction of Jurassic Park The Ride begins at Universal Studios Hollywood, which is going to make way for the highly anticipated Jurassic World ride coming in 2019.
But
I know you were kind of sad about this.
a little sad. I really like Jurassic Park ride, and I mean, I know it'll still be there in some capacity. It's going to be like a intense overlay, pretty much. I don't think they're going to change anything about the structure, but it's classic. I miss it
Pretty
already.
much.
And well, I do miss it because I haven't ridden it in a long time, and I'm not going to ride it before it's gone. So.
I'm sorry, unless the baby wants to go for a very fun ride.
No, I don't think so.
Well, here's the blurb for you that we have here about the changing of the ride. Drawing from the favorite elements of the original Jurassic Park The Ride, the next generation Jurassic World ride will be fully reimagined iteration of the groundbreaking adventure, elevating every facet of the experience. With the introduction of never-before-seen dinosaurs, enhanced storytelling, lush scenic design, an entirely new color scheme, and an uncompromised state-of-the-art technology, the ride will capture elements never experienced within a theme park. So, it sounds like the boats are probably going to end up being blue instead of yellow. That's my guess.
Yeah.
The signage is going to change to Jurassic World. But like you said, it's not going to change the track layout.
No.
So it's just like a really intense overlay, as you said.
I think so.
I see what they're trying to do, and I understand what they're trying to do. I personally think it might have been a better use of money if they were to just have gotten rid of Jurassic Park The Ride and built an entirely new attraction around Jurassic World so that it's unique in the sense of it's built to that film.
Yeah.
Instead of relying on the old track and system that really was built specifically for Jurassic Park. I don't know, that's just kind of my opinion. I would have loved to see like a gyrosphere ride or something cool like that.
Yeah.
It could have been like a gyrosphere roller coaster, indoor roller coaster or something.
Yeah.
But in a way, I am still happy they're gonna be keeping most of that lush landscape that's inside, because when you're on the ride, there's nothing cooler than it's super pretty.
Yeah.
So I'm a little happy and I'm a little sad all at the same time, because I just don't think that Jurassic World has been around long enough to kind of have the heft and weight that Jurassic Park is able to carry because of how classic it is.
Well, going back to nostalgia, I think that, like,
referencing our last episode, if you want to go listen to that.
Yeah, go listen to that. But I think that, like, Jurassic Park has more staying power than Jurassic World, because the whole reason people even like Jurassic World is because it reminds them of Jurassic Park.
Good point.
So I think that they're instead of like revamping Jurassic Park and putting the new technology into making that a better ride and leaving it the way it is, they're banking on the popularity of this new rehashing of the franchise, which honestly I don't think has as much staying power as the original Jurassic Park does.
But do you think that's because of your viewpoint on it and nostalgia, or do you think in general, if you're looking at the film as films compared to each other, they just don't match up?
In 20 years, if I have both Blu-ray DVDs or whatever form of media we're watching, movies on at that point, in 20 years, if I have both Jurassic World and Jurassic Park in my hands, I'm gonna watch Jurassic Park.
Good point. I mean, I would watch Jurassic Park first, then Jurassic World. I mean, that's not saying anything about Jurassic World, because we really enjoyed it. Yeah. We thought it was fun.
Yeah.
So now that they're going to be putting new dinosaurs in there, we're definitely 100% we're going to see the Indominus Rex.
Oh yeah.
I can't imagine them replacing the T-Rex with anything else.
Well,
if they're going to replace them.
It could be. Well, in this new movie too, they have another new
Indoraptor or something like that.
So it could be that too. But like just the scale of like the T-Rex head, I think it will be the Indominus Rex head.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, unless they keep the T-Rex, just simply based on the fact that the T-Rex does play such a large role in Jurassic World, as well as it seems like Jurassic Fallen Kingdom.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Yeah. I mean, I'm really excited to kind of see a refreshed version of the attraction, because I know it's had some technological issues with regards to the water.
Maybe they'll replace the car with like a gyrosphere.
I wouldn't be surprised if they did that. Yeah. Or they just paint it blue.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the whole ride is just getting a blue tint overlay, everything. And they're gonna replace John Hammond's voice
with Chris Pratt.
With Chris Pratt. or just Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum.
Well, welcome to Jurassic Park. Poor man's Jeff Goldblum once again.
Not gonna lie, I am super jazzed to see Jeff Goldblum reprise his role in this
Fallen Kingdom.
Yeah.
It should be fun.
Yeah.
I mean, we like Jeff Goldblum.
I think it might just be like a cameo in that court scene. I don't think he's going to be in it any more than that.
Oh, probably not.
But I'm still excited.
Once again, banking off of the love for the original series.
And Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, that too.
In general. He has his own appeal.
Yes.
He plays jazz.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. Let's jump into our next segment.
Haunting Headlines.
Beginning September 14th at Universal Studios Hollywood and Universal Orlando Resort, Legendary Pictures cult Halloween classic Trick or Treat is going to be coming to life in an all-new Halloween Horror Nights maze that dare guests to live by the rules or suffer the consequences.
September 14th?
Yes. Are you gonna go unbelievably pregnant?
Will you push me around in a wheelchair?
Sure.
Okay, I'll go.
My potato. I've been calling Nikki a potato.
No. I've been calling myself a potato because I feel like one. And you have been calling me sweet potato / hot potato to make me feel better.
Yeah,
and it's been working.
And then when you're emotionally a mess, I call you mashed potato.
Yes. It's become a term of endearment that I kind of like, so...
My potato.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on.
Okay. Inside glimpse into our lives. Over.
An embarrassing glimpse into the life. Based on the critically acclaimed and fan-favorite movie directed by Michael Dougherty, the Trick or Treat Maze will transport guests to Warren Valley, Ohio on Halloween night to celebrate the holiday's dark traditions. Recreating some of the anthology's most iconic scenes, the disturbing new maze invites brave thrill seekers to become intertwined within the secrets of this sleepy suburban town. Guests will experience some of the film's most grisly scenes and encounter hauntingly familiar characters. They will meander through Mr. Keege's infamous house, watch as college students viciously transform into bloodthirsty werewolves and dismember the town, as well as come to face with Sam, the spirit of Halloween, who readies to punish those who break the holiday's traditions.
Ooh.
I could not explain to you in words how excited I am about this coming to Halloween Horror Nights.
That's why I want to be pushed around in a wheelchair on September 14th. I'm not kidding.
This was on my list for this episode, but we had to push the episode back, which you'll hear later why.
Yeah.
And then it came out as news.
Yeah.
So I'm really bummed that I didn't get to say I want this really bad and it coming true.
Yeah.
Dang it.
It's okay. We believe you.
Sam is one of my favorite characters in any horror film I've ever seen.
Uh-huh.
He is amazing, and he's creepy. I also think he's adorable in so many ways. Trick or Treat is one of those films for me that I could watch at any time of the year, and then I get that Halloween fix I need to kind of keep going through because I miss Halloween that much.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Nikki, one of the first gifts that you got me that was kind of Halloween related was a Sam doll that walks around and eats his little lollipop.
You love him.
This gives a good sense of how excited I am about this.
Yeah, no, it's really exciting, and I think this combined with Stranger Things, it's a can't miss year. Like,
oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And the fact that we kind of experienced it already at Halloween Horror Nights in Orlando last year,
as
the scare zone.
As a scare zone, yeah.
It only furthered our want for it to become a maze.
Yeah.
I mean, we found ourselves walking through that scare zone so many times just because it was out of the way. But we still did it.
I wish I could experience Orlando's version of the mazes.
We can fly.
No.
We can fly there and just push you in a wheelchair.
We cannot. Not when I'm 9 months.
Then our baby will be born at Halloween Horror Nights. Why not?
You know, there was this baby that was born in the Chipotle parking lot, and Chipotle threw it a 1-year birthday party.
Did it really?
Yeah.
Chipotle, here we come!
No,
Chipotle!
I'm just saying, if I have my baby at Halloween Horror Nights, I'm expecting similar treatment. Just saying.
When your birthday at Halloween Horror Nights, Aaron, our baby, is just going to be like, not know what's going on. That's what babies sound like.
That's what scary, like, creepy babies sound like.
That's what babies sound like.
Stop making that sound.
It also probably doesn't help that I'm making the face and, like, the arm movements as well.
Yeah.
That probably creeps you out a little bit more than the sound does.
A little bit. I was just fishing for free stuff from Universal if I have my baby in the park.
Cool. What are you going to get, a free t-shirt?
I don't know, whatever they want to give me.
Maybe they'll give you a free wand.
Maybe.
This is all happenstance if we go to Universal and have our baby there.
Yeah.
Which I have a feeling we're not gonna do.
No, we're not.
Nikki just winked to me.
No, I didn't.
She winked while she said that.
September 14th is like 3 weeks away from my due date.
She winked again. I don't know why you're winking at me. Why are you winking at me? I don't understand.
I might not make it at all, but if the stars are aligned, you're pushing me around in a wheelchair.
That is fine, and I'm more than willing to do that. Even all the way to the back lot.
I'll skip the tram tour, though.
What? Why?
Because that's like walking around and stuff.
No, you're fine.
No, I'm not doing that.
You know they take people separately if they're in wheelchairs. You realize that, right?
Yeah.
We'll still do it.
Maybe. This is all hypothetical.
Yes,
I might not even go, but I really want to go.
You're ridiculous. Anyway, let's get into the main topic today. As we said, we're going to be talking our top 5 IPs that we want to see at Halloween Horror Nights.
Hey, it's Gabe, and we're back, and we're gonna be
Whoa! What are you doing here? This is our show. You're the guest.
Oh, sorry, I'm just so used to hosting podcasts.
Taking over, man. You're taking over. As we said before the intro, we have our friend James from the Creepy Kingdom podcast here today.
Who made himself very welcome.
Yeah, apparently.
I'm very comfortable here. Thank you.
I mean, he took off his shoes. He even took off his pants. I mean, he's just comfortable as hell right here in our own house. It makes recording rather awkward.
Well, just keep eye contact. It'll be fun.
Yeah. Well, thank God the desk is at waist level, so I don't see anything from the waist down. So we're good to go.
That's right. I like to record with pants off, shirt on. That's really how I'm most comfortable.
That's optimum clothes level for perfect podcasting.
Yes.
Just if you want to get into podcasting, don't wear pants.
Whatever makes the show better.
Yeah, seriously.
It makes it really good. I'm not wearing pants.
Moving on from the lack of clothes,
Yes.
We have James here on the show, like I said, and he is from the Creepy Kingdom podcast, and he also was one of the people who helped create Foolish Mortals, a fantastic documentary all about the Haunted Mansion and its fans. So can you tell us a little bit about your podcast and your awesome documentary that you're still kind of throwing out there right now,
Yeah,
right?
no, it's still happening. It's still being spread to the world. But no, Creepy Kingdom. It's funny. It started we started focusing on the creepy side of Disney, but it's really and theme parks and movies, and it's really just become all theme parks and celebrating all things spooky and creepy. And we're almost at 5 years. Been doing the show.
That's fantastic,
So
man. That's
like a
congratulations
million years
on 5
in
years, dude.
podcast years.
Imagine how much time you've spent in front of your microphone pantsless.
A lot, and Creepy Kingdom wasn't my first podcast, so I've
Well, this wasn't my first podcast either, so we're in the same boat, dude.
a lot of pantsless hours. But anyways, I know we can see on the Skype videos. That's another thing I want to mention. I haven't done a podcast with someone else like in person in probably 6 or 7 years.
Really?
Yeah, everything I do is through Skype. So this is old school, man.
We're
This is taking
honored.
me back.
Well, doesn't it feel better to have somebody in front of you instead of just the screen?
Yeah, it's awesome. And your setup in here is pretty incredible of theme park memorabilia.
Well, thank you. I would like to think that it's the perfect room to dork out in.
Yeah.
It is a dorking out room. I feel very comfortable about how dorky I'm going to get. But anyways, that's Creepy Kingdom in a nutshell. And we've expanded to a full website where we review films, do photo reports from the theme parks, do videos, and we're going to start doing some films and stuff like that, which leads into Foolish Mortals, which actually was inspired by the podcast, which Foolish Mortals documentary about Haunted Mansion fans. We premiered last July during D23. Amazing event.
We were there.
Yeah,
Yep.
as you guys. When I say it was amazing, I mean I had an amazing time. Not like I was amazing because I did it.
Sure, James.
It was
sure,
an incredible
James.
time.
Sure,
we have
James.
the bestest times ever. The bestest.
I make the best movies.
No, it was just an amazing night. A sold out room full of Haunted Mansion fans during D23. Like it was just.
What's seriously better than that, right?
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. But we've had several screenings around the country in the past year, and pretty soon we're gonna have a limited edition run of our DVDs, and then some months down the line we hope to get everything squared out with VOD for your Netflix and
Enjoyment.
all that kind of the way people watch things stuff. and we have some other things in the works. So yeah, that's all what I do in a nutshell there.
And if you think you recognize James's voice from anything else, he moonlights as a donut taster for UUOP.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Our fans of our unofficial Universal Orlando podcast.
Yes. I love that show, and anytime they allow me to do anything on it, I get super stoked because I love it. I love all the people from that show, and I was a listener first, and then as a fellow podcaster, we became friends, and then Lee from there asked me if I would record audio of eating donuts at Voodoo Donut, and I was like, yes.
Isn't that the thing you dream about as a human being? Like, anybody's like, God, I really wish somebody would ask me to eat donuts and record about me eating those donuts.
You know what's really funny is
recording eating said donuts.
Right. What the funniest part about it is, I don't have any really elaborate way to describe it. I was like, oh, this is awesome. This is really good.
That was honestly probably the best part of the entire thing. And I'm going to say two things. One, love everybody at Unofficial Universal Orlando Podcast. Two, that was probably the funniest segment they've ever had that I've ever heard on their show. Wow. Simply based on the fact that how you were describing the donuts. It was the funniest thing I've ever heard. It was like some of them you could tell you were like underwhelmed, but you were trying super hard to be like peppy about it. And the other ones you could tell that you're like soul lit up when you ate the donut.
And it's even funnier as I'm sitting there by myself with a box of donuts, taking a bite out of each, talking to myself.
Pantsless.
Pantsless, because when you podcast, you have to be pantsless. And of course, the security guards at City Walk weren't too happy about that situation, and they're like, "Excuse me, sir, can you please put your pants back on?"
I'm a podcaster.
When you're holding the donut, the powdered donut in one hand and pantsless, it's kind of a big question mark for those security guards.
Yeah, but I just gave a donut and they were gone. But a woman didn't pick up, so I cut it out. But a woman definitely walked by me, did a double take, and came back and said, "Oh, I seriously thought you were talking to the donuts."
Oh, my sweet, delicious donuts.
They're like, oh yeah, you're good. Oh, you're yummy.
You're a bad little donut, aren't you? You're a bad little donut.
See, I told anytime you want me to review donuts, I don't think that's probably, I don't know any more donut shops are going to open up at Universal Hollywood.
It's like from now on, the only recordings he sends them are just donut reviews, and he's just like going to every single donut shop around LA.
Well, that's the thing before he sent to me is like, I go to like donut shops all the time. I've been waiting for this opportunity. So I could do a podcast of just reviewing donuts. I don't know who wants to listen to it. Maybe you, because you said you really enjoyed it.
Gabe would listen.
James Eats Donuts podcast.
I don't know how pleasant it's going to be, because now I'm just picturing pantsless eating donuts in front of a microphone. Well, you're welcome,
That's a
America.
Plus and a negative.
You're welcome, everybody listening.
Depends on what side of the coin.
I'm sure Shannon would love it.
Shannon, yes. Shannon experiences it.
She gets to see that firsthand.
Yes. My domestic partner, who will be coming up in this in our list here.
And
some things. She actually had some things that she wanted me to say. So I have a message.
Oh yeah, I was wondering if it was influenced, or if your list was
my list was not influenced by her at all, but she just wanted to chime in.
Okay.
Gotcha. Even though she's not here, she's still gonna get a word in edge.
That's right.
Special guest appearance by Shannon via
James.
So and for listeners, she runs a website, Nightmarish Conjurings. And
great website, by the way.
Yep.
That's pretty good. And she is a reluctant podcaster, because the only time I get her to podcast with me is when I clip a microphone to her. I say, sit here and then talk to me about what we did the other night.
Honestly, that's why Nikki and I do what we do, because this is the conversation that we would be having in the car,
right?
Except in front of a microphone at home instead.
Yeah.
The fact that people find that entertaining is a little weird to me. I'm still getting used to it.
Hey, I mean, I love podcasts. I'm a huge podcast listener. If you find people you connect with, you want to know what they think and their thoughts on what you love, and that's what I think is so fun about all these different theme park podcasts.
Oh no, totally.
Someone just reached out to us on Twitter the other day and said that they agreed with something I said, and I was like, "What?"
Wow, they were listening.
Oh, there you go. Good job. You gave Nikki a giant head.
Like, they made special note to do that. They're probably driving, and they're like, when I get home,
I'm going to tell him how right Nikki was.
Well, I appreciate it greatly.
I would just like the audience to know as well that we tried to do this episode a while ago.
Yeah.
And then right when I was about to press record, Shannon was sick, and then you had to leave.
She was on the way to the hospital.
Yeah, she was on her way to the hospital, and then all of a sudden you went to the hospital, and it was like the end of the world, and then all of a sudden you're here and you're better.
You're
feeling better.
I'm feeling better, yeah.
Good.
So
it's been a rough few
God
weeks.
for a healthy James and a healthy Shannon.
Yeah, it was rough. That was we were literally like, all right, we're all set, we're set up, let's go. And I'm like, I gotta go.
And you felt so bad, and I was like, don't worry about it, man. You gotta do what you gotta do. So,
but we're here now, and I'm very excited to share my list.
Yeah.
I'm really curious to know what's on both of your list. I don't see them, and you're trying to hide it.
I'm always very
I hid
insecure.
my list significantly.
I'm always very insecure about what I put on my lists. They always turn out okay, though.
You gotta own it.
Why are you insecure?
I don't know, because I kind of just like, this sounds good. You know, it's not like I put any like deep thought into it.
Nor do I. I just don't like.
Yeah, no, it's a list of stuff I like.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So, what is the official number that we're of IPs we're supposed to be sharing here?
5.
Yeah. So
because Gabe told me 5.
Thanks.
Well, I only have 5.
Well, good.
I didn't do any runners up this time.
I have 8, I think.
I have 8 as well.
Yeah, so we're just going to do 5, and then we'll have some runners up.
3 honorable.
So I have to decide what my runners up are then.
Yeah, you have your 3 honorable mentions.
Well, also, the way I kind of did it was like, just in case any of these are on anybody else's list, I have extras that I could shout out.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I just like being prepared, James. I don't know about you.
No, I like to wing it. This is tough to put my honorable mentions here.
So, as we were saying, we're going to be doing the the 5 top IPs we would love to see at Halloween Horror Nights.
And they're not necessarily Universal IPs, right?
Yeah,
Universal
no.
owned. It's anything.
It could be anything in the
Yeah,
world
okay.
ever.
Anything
right?
you want. There could be a freaking Whiplash haunted house that you go into where the entire time you're just dodging drum sets and chairs from the teacher throwing them at you. This is a constant barrage of drum sets and chairs.
That would kill. Man, what a popular house that would be.
Or a 127 hours house where you just go into a room for about 10 minutes and watch a guy get stuck by a rock. You know, do that
The
too.
horror part is you have to be in there for 127 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy.
The line for it is quite long. But I guarantee you that once you get in there, it'll be worth it. So, anyway, since James, you are the guest here, we would like you to go first with your first IP that you would love to see as a haunted house at Halloween Horror Nights.
Are we doing the honorable mentions first or last?
No. We're going to do the honorable mentions right before our number ones, like our last
Oh,
ones.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, I got you. Okay. Boy, well, I'm going to start it off with Gremlins.
That's mine.
Really?
Is that one of yours?
List.
That's a really good one, dude. That's a
Knock
really good
off
one.
one of my 5 right there. That's fine. We'll co-talk about it.
Kotak.
Because that's one of mine. So
Then we'll go in that order then. We'll go James, you, me.
Okay.
So we'll skip you this time because it happened to be on your
Yeah.
list.
So let's talk about Gremlins.
Yeah.
Okay, Nikki's just like, shut up. Let's talk about Gizmo right now.
I mean, I don't know about all the gizmo action in this house, but I think the idea of just being put into a chaotic environment with gremlins would be a dream come true.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you know, you got to do, and this is based on the first film.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Gremlins fan. It was one of them, made a huge impact on me as a young child. All that being said, I have very mixed feelings about Gremlins 2. It's really bad, but it's also super awesome.
It's good bad.
But it's just, I watched it recently, and I was like, I hate this, but I love this.
Yeah. No, I know exactly what you're talking
Like, it's so
about.
dated, like the Gremlins 2. It's such a 90s weird. I tried to make it Looney Tunes, basically.
Yeah.
But anyways, back to the original Gremlins. One of the scenes that scarred me as a child, this is before the PG-13 rating, and I was like 8 years old when I saw it, was when the gremlins are attacking in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And they put the one gremlin in the microwave and it blows up. They had to put the other one in the blender. I think, I definitely want to walk through that experience.
Well, you know that if that scene happens, you're going to get sprayed with lots of water.
Yeah.
It's the Halloween Horror Nights, man. That blender is going to be shooting water out like crazy.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Well, it'd be like the Krampus room where all the gingerbread men are in the kitchen. It'd be like that.
Yeah, pretty
But
much.
better.
One idea that I had would be funny is that over one of the walkways you could have part of the house on the right with the broken window and then a projection of the old lady flying across the so you at least have that scene, because there's no way in heck you could do that without having some type of technology to help it go.
Yeah.
Right.
So that would be fun to have.
Yeah, but it could start out in the little shop, where the guy buys Gizmo, and it can just
Told you, low talking Nikki.
Oh, sorry.
Before the show recorded, we were doing sound checks, and I made a joke saying, guarantee you, low talking Nikki will make an appearance where she just starts whispering, and that was it.
Do I need to re-say it, or do you think the audience heard it?
Just continue.
Okay.
Twitter person, is Nikki right this time? Chime in.
I think his name was Josh, and then I just know that the last part of his Twitter handle was Grindstaff.
No, it wasn't.
100%. I'm not joking.
I don't remember.
Nikki's gonna look now.
I am. Well, anyway, Gremlins.
So, Josh, what do you think about Nikki's level?
Well, no, I don't want to look it up.
You're so lazy.
Yeah, no, I'm really lazy. But but I just thought it'd be really cute, because I don't know, it just start out, kind of this false sense of security, and then all of a sudden, oh no, he fed them, and then
It'd be cool to have the voiceover, because the voiceover at the end of the movie, it's you never can tell, or whatever, the grandpa talk. It'd be cool to have that in the beginning over the, over that stuff. But I guess, and this will probably come up a few times. I know for a lot of people that go to haunts, especially the theme park haunts, they're super into jump scares. That's what they're there for. For me, that's just kind of all right, whatever to me. I'm definitely about being immersed in the in the environment. So, but I can't really, you can't really have any scare actors in a gremlin's house, because you're not gonna have some dude in a full full-size dude in a gremlin costume.
The most you could have is a normal person with a gremlin attached to their face, running or something,
Or you could have the very stereotypical old Asian man who sells the mogwai to the dad.
No, so he just keeps jumping out.
He just jumps out. He's Mogwai.
He just
Mogwai.
He just yells Mogwai.
Yeah, pretty much. But anyway, that's a great choice. I think that were you fond of the house that they had lit up over at the WB Experience during Halloween, because they had the music playing?
Oh yeah.
Well, that was the house too.
Yeah,
it was literally
that was the house.
Yeah, did you guys go to that thing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we did.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, being a Gremlins fan, and also something that's going to come up later on my list was also shot in that same. There's a teaser there.
I think I know exactly what it is.
And yeah, just to be able to have these, and actually that's a prime example. They had a Conjuring haunt, I guess, for lack of a better phrase, but there was
Mini
a few scare actors, but it was all about you go into a room, you stand there for a minute, and all this crazy stuff happens, as opposed to you just keep going, and it's not a conga line, there's not just people jumping out. There was in that house something did jump out at you, but
you could spoil it. It happened a year ago.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll come back. I don't want to spoil it.
Okay, fine.
It may come back. We don't know how they're
Well,
going to
I think
be
we're
doing stuff.
talking about the same thing.
Yes.
And it was freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the last thing that happened, and both Nikki and I were why is this not a thing everywhere?
So they had a very unique take on haunts. Even the It House, it was kind of the same thing. Go into a room and a bunch of things unfold, as opposed to just the endless conga line thing. Is definitely a cool take. But being on the Warner Brothers back lot where Gremlins was filmed, and they had projections of Gremlins in the windows and all that
music
stuff.
too.
Yeah, that was cool. Now there's a ride in a European theme park, and I can't remember what it was, but it was the craziest ride. I don't know. Someone was talking about it on a podcast at some point, and then I watched a ride-through video, and I think it's even closed now, but it was in the 90s. I feel like it was something like Looney Tunes or something whatever, but the whole premise of the ride was that gremlins took over the ride. What? I'll look it up. And that was like the best use of gremlin, because it wasn't necessarily Gremlins ride. It was just, here's a kind of like in Gremlins 2 when they take over the movie theater. Or like when you're watching the movie, they take over stuff like that.
Yeah, and you can imagine them having like the scene that they had in American Werewolf in London, where you're walking up into the theater, and you have the projection going on the wall with shadows of gremlins.
Right, because they're in the projection booth. Yeah, that would be awesome.
That'd be cool.
So just I brought up that other thing that I can't remember what it was, but it's just that would be kind of a cool idea too if it's like. It starts off being something else, and then gremlins take over it.
Like a completely different maze.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. That's something I wish that a theme park would do, or like some haunt would do, is that they market it as something else.
Oh, like a total bait and switch, like you would do it together.
Completely bait and switch, where they market it, say as, I don't know, like say they're doing. A Looney, like you said, like Looney Tunes. Just imagine Looney Tunes. Yeah. Then all of a sudden, halfway through, gremlins show up, and then they just run amok. Like, I think that would be awesome, and I think that's kind of something that they could miss out on. I mean, having a surprise would be really cool.
Yeah.
It's literally the don't spoil it for everyone moment of the haunt community.
Right, yeah, that's impossible.
Yeah, after the first night, it'd be over.
Pretty much, the cat would be out of the bag. But anyway, 20 minutes on Gremlins is good enough.
Oh, I thought we were going 3 hours. Sorry. I have so many notes.
We are not even drinking, people. It's the Gizmo Super Hug 'em. Anyway.
Okay, well, I skipped.
You're skipping.
I'm on the Gremlins bandwagon, so
right on.
Now your turn.
So my first IP that I would love to see as a house at Halloween Horror Nights is also not technically a horror movie, and that is Beetlejuice.
Dang it!
It's on my list.
No!
Before you say anything, I want to say one thing that's funny that it's on there. We were going to record originally, and then we didn't. And then whatever episode of UOP was after that, someone on the show just randomly said, "Oh, it'd be awesome if they made a Halloween Horror Nights house out of Beetlejuice." And I just was going to point out, I was like, I did not take that from them.
Well, this was on my original list. We were going to record before that episode came out, so I'm going to claim that. Lee and Tracy, if you're listening, I did not steal it from you.
Well, neither did I, but Gabe stole it from me. Right now.
You have kind of a Beetlejuice vibe to your outfit.
I know, yeah, I'm all black and white. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're working with a professional here. I just think there's so many different environments in this film and so many different quirky characters that you could incorporate into an attraction.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you have Beetlejuice in all of his different forms. You could easily see a snake Beetlejuice in a house because they've done that version of different monsters or characters before in houses. You could definitely see like a sandworm maybe happening somewhere going through the desert. They can make it hot in that room, which I feel bad for the scare actors a little bit. You could have the married couple like in their deformed looks. You know how he makes himself look like a rooster. Mm-hmm. She pulls her mouth open and has her eyeballs in her mouth.
The whole waiting room scene.
Or when she has his head severed in her hand with like the big knife, the waiting room scene.
Yeah.
There's so many options with the film to play in different environments, which I think is like even what you were touching upon is being immersed in that environment and feeling like you're in that film. And I think this is a really good opportunity to do that because they're so unique. Especially with like a Tim Burton movie. It's so unique to that it lends itself to being in this kind of attraction.
Yeah, I concur. One of my thoughts on it were, as far as I think Beetlejuice is the perfect like jump scare character. I mean, he's not gonna scare you. You think he's gonna get you, but he can definitely keep startling you. And I think that all the married couple could be good scare actors, you know, and all that kind of stuff. The other thing too is that Beetlejuice, and especially through the animated series, kind of could be anything. So I kind of picture the execution similar to how they've been doing Nightmare on Elm Street. How Freddy just kind of turns into anything. I feel like it can kind of, you know, be especially the mashup house they did last year,
which was great. It was Freddy, Jason, and Leatherface,
Titans
right?
Titans
of Terror. Yeah. Good job.
Yay!
I don't remember what it was called, but yeah. But yeah, I could. they had the snake. Basically, you just keep seeing the Freddy sweater colors. Instead of that, you would just change it to black and white and put Beetlejuice's face on it.
Yeah, a bit of green. Yeah.
I mean, what I would love is if the front of the maze was the girls like whorehouse that he built in the little town model.
Right.
So you have to walk through that. And then each window has like a projection of a woman dancing or something like it is in the movie.
That'd be awesome.
So you walk through there and that's your entrance into his world. So you enter his world and then you enter different parts of that story. I think you could even have the marriage sequence at the end where they have, the fireplace that kind of becomes crooked and he could pop out of there, like the priest, the little monster guy that comes out.
Yeah.
He could pop out and scare you. Stuff like that. I think it just lends itself so many times to so many different cool opportunities.
Yeah.
And I think I've been noticing this a lot recently. The popularity right now of Beetlejuice is like through the roof. He's the brand, the film has this like resurgence fans. I don't even know if it's a resurgence. I think it's found a new audience of younger people, because I think the people that loved it originally still like it, but I just from anytime I post anything about Beetlejuice on like social media on Creepy Kingdom stuff, people like lose their minds. And so I think it's popular enough. Beetlejuice has had such a presence in the Universal theme parks on both coasts, and also usually Orlando has one house that's kind of funny and lighthearted.
Yeah.
To a certain extent.
Well, yeah, Hollywood too usually has one kind of more quirky, not really like sinister, scary.
Not as
Yeah.
not as on the nose as most of them are.
Yeah.
Right. So it could work, but it's at its core, it's just not it's not scary enough for them to really.
Yeah, I mean, like when people, I feel like people wouldn't be scared to go through, but I feel like people will appreciate it, but underestimate it. Yeah. So they'll go in thinking, "Oh, this isn't scary. It's Beetlejuice. I love that," and they'll get the crap scared out of them because they're not expecting it.
That's true.
If they orchestrate it well, you never know.
It could something that we're not talking about Hollywood Horror Nights, but it could work at that event. Actually, the Warner Brothers Halloween event.
Actually, it might fit better there.
And it's their IP.
Yeah. Hey, how you doing between two boisterous men, by the way?
I think I'm being heard. I think I'm talking good about.
Over James's laugh, I don't hear you. I just see your mouth moving.
Josh, can you hear Nikki? Let us know. Tweet in.
By the way, I was correct.
Sorry, Josh.
It's Joshua Grindstaff. That was his Twitter handle. I'm not wrong.
He's either going to be super jazzed that he's been being shouted out so much, or
he's just going to be like, "God damn it, guys! Like seriously, like I'm not going to listen anymore if you guys keep talking about me like this."
Listen, you're officially Nikki's advocate. Like it or not.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on. James, what is your next IP?
My next one is Plan 9 from Outer Space.
I have no idea what the hell that is. I'm sorry.
Enlighten us.
Wow, really?
Sounds like a science fiction B movie. Is it? Am I correct?
It is. It is. It has been kind of touted. It's been given the title "The Worst Film of All Time."
Oh,
it's a quintessential film by Ed Wood.
Yes, it's Ed Wood's film. That's what it is.
The film Ed Wood by Tim Burton is about the making of Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Oh my God, the shot is so bad. Oh my God, it's so scary. Are you lost?
Yeah, but that's okay. Continue.
Have you seen Ed Wood?
No.
Oh, that's a good movie.
Well,
as soon as you said worst movie of all time, I knew exactly what you were talking about. I apologize for everybody out there who's like, "Oh, come on, Gabe," when I said I didn't know what it was. Now I do. Don't worry.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know how to describe Plan 9. I mean, essentially, Ed Wood is known as making films that are really bad, but they have a lot of heart. And I'm a huge Ed Wood fan, and this is kind of his masterpiece, if you will. I mean, and my friend, who's also a huge fan of this, also said, though, how come every time you watch Plan 9 from Outer Space, it feels like it's 4 o'clock in the morning? It feels like you're just struggling to get through it because it's so bad, but it's awesome. And yeah, I mean, it's kind of, I guess it's kind of hard to. The reason I want to do it as a haunt is that it's got it's the last film that Bela Lugosi did before he died. So you can, it's kind of like the way that if they were to do like a classic monsters kind of house. Like it's not definitely again not going to be the scariest, terrifying thing. It's you can tell where my mind's at with a lot of stuff. It's just really schlocky, funny. But
then halfway through, Gremlins come into it, right?
That'd be good. Gremlins came into that. Also, the film's in black and white, so I thought it'd be cool to have a house in black and white.
Oh yeah.
Because I've never experienced that. I'm sure it has existed at some point, maybe. But anyways, that's my pick there.
Okay.
Nikki, it's finally your turn.
Okay.
Was that on your list?
No, it was not on my list.
Thank God.
I'm gonna say one of my higher up picks because I just don't want someone else to say it before I can. I think Pan's Labyrinth would be really cool.
I'm super glad I didn't write that down on my list because I was super close to doing it.
I just think it'd be a really cool visual maze to see, and with creepy aspects. They have creepy characters and all that. So I think it'd be a really fun one. I don't really have much more to elaborate on. So Gabe, if you want to help me elaborate.
Well, it's along the same lines of what was the other maze that they Crimson Peak. So it would be visually it would be visually stunning. It would be a beautiful maze because I think ultimately after everybody went through Crimson Peak, regardless of whether they thought it was scary, everyone said that was beautiful.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a pretty accurate recreation of the film.
I thought it was the trailer.
It was an exact replica of the trailer. Like scene for scene.
That was
pretty close to the trailer, but I mean, it was a beautiful maze, and I can't guarantee you that they follow in the footsteps of that with Pan's Labyrinth, and it would be the same thing because Guillermo del Toro's filmmaking style just lends itself to allowing these sets to be just gorgeous and just being able to live in that moment. So that's my pick. I think it'd be really pretty.
Good pick.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Is that a coaster?
Yes, it is. I have my Post-it note on the back of a coaster so that I can place...
I thought you wrote it actually on the coaster.
I carved it with a knife. I carved it with a knife on the back of my wooden coaster. It's a permanent list forever. No, should I go like a traditional horror movie or should I go another non-traditional horror movie route?
Well, we haven't had too many traditional horror movies.
Okay, so
we'll go traditional.
We'll go traditional. I'm going to say, actually, I was just about to say one that wasn't traditional. I'm going to say Drag Me to Hell.
Wow.
Yeah, Drag Me to Hell.
Awesome.
By Sam Raimi.
Yeah.
Wonderful film if you haven't seen it.
I love it. It's like a high budget B movie.
Yes. And there's plenty of gross sound that Universal could hold on to and spray people with water constantly.
It's PG-13 too, right?
Yeah, it's a PG-13 movie. And there's plenty of effects that they easily do with characters running around. So like one of the first things that pops in my mind is having a woman running around with like a cloth coming out of her mouth, and she's like trying to pull it out of her mouth because the old woman's cloth tries to go down her throat in the film. Wow. So she could have like a little mouthpiece with the cloth attached to it, so she could look like she's yanking on it all night trying to pull it out of her throat or something. Or have the flies show up.
Yeah.
Or have like the door with the hooves show up, the shadow of the hooves or something. And then like the ending scene can be like the cracks opening up on the floor to hell or something. There's so many options. Visually, the movie is really cool. There's a lot of really creepy stuff in that film.
Is there something with an eye?
With an eyeball?
Yeah.
I'm pretty... With an eyeball?
That's like, I saw it like in the movies, so it's not all fresh in my mind.
Yeah,
but I remember something with an eyeball.
With an eyeball. I do remember that one of the guys gets possessed and he like throws up a cat and like throws it at her.
Yeah.
And then I also remember that they were trying to transfer the demon's spirit into the goat, and when they did it, they couldn't kill the goat. He goes, "You tricked me, you black-hearted bitch!"
I wonder if we have this at home. I want to like watch it again.
I think I own it, so I can let you borrow it.
Cool.
But there's just a lot of really gross, creepy, scary moments to include into an attraction. I think it would be really fun.
Yeah, I don't think it has the popularity, but if they had it when they did it like the year it came out or something, then I think that's like a strong possibility.
Yeah, I mean, it has all the elements that, that John Murdy looks for in properties whenever he's trying to choose one for Halloween Horror Nights. It has everything. It has locations, it has characters, it has scares, and it has monsters. It has all of the above. And they would have to do that animatronic goat who gets all, possessed.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Anyway, moving on. James, your next one.
Wait, so how many have I have on the record?
You've had two, so you have three more.
I got three more. Okay. This one's a little odd, and maybe not everyone has seen it.
Is it odder than the previous selection?
No.
Okay, just checking.
I don't know if odd's the right word, but it's based on a very new film.
Okay, go for it.
So I don't know if everyone has seen it, but it's A Quiet Place.
Oh, that would be interesting.
I was actually contemplating that for my list. Yeah.
Didn't we talk about that in the theater?
Yeah.
I think during the credits we were like, this would be a pretty cool house. Be interesting.
Well, in case people haven't seen it, for one, I think the environments, it's like this, they're like living, the world is, there's these crazy, disgusting monsters that can't see, but they can only hear.
Yeah.
So, and if you make the slightest noise, they come out of nowhere and just obliterate your life. And so this story follows a family trying to navigate living quietly in this abandoned farmhouse. And, chaos ensues. Also, the mom's pregnant, so that's the added craziness of trying to give birth in that environment.
And then also how to deal with a crying baby in that environment.
Right.
Oh, man, that was stressing
me out. You put it in a box.
Yeah. Spoiler.
But be able to go through these abandoned farmhouses that they live in would be in cornfields. Perfect environments for Halloween Horror Nights, but really these monsters, they're so gross and disgusting that I think that they would be really cool. And to have a house that's like about being quiet, and like if the noise level gets above a certain level, it triggers like jump scares.
That would be interesting.
I mean, we'd just be going nonstop because people don't shut the hell up. But that's just my concept, though. I think that would be kind of like to really try to be in the film. I don't, you would have to have like a guide, and you go in like small groups.
Yeah.
It couldn't be a conga line experience.
No way.
I don't think they could rely on a lot of their go-to scare tactics. They'd have to think out of the box, which might be nice.
I don't know. I mean, the flashing light, loud noise would work in a maze where you're supposed to be super quiet.
Yeah.
Because then it would catch you off guard even more so.
A little bit.
And I think you're 100% right. I don't think it can ever be a regular maze. You would have to have it in small groups, and it would have to be a special experience. Maybe even an upcharge experience.
Yeah.
And that's my Quiet Place.
That's a good ending. Nikki, what's your number 3?
My number 3.
Well, this is not in chronological order, by the way.
Oh, no,
yeah,
mine's been jumping around, too.
I just wanted to make that clear.
Yeah, no, we've been jumping all over the place. My number 3 is, I think it's fairly popular. I enjoyed it a lot when it came out. I think it was about 2006. The Descent.
Ooh, good choice.
Yeah.
That's the one where they're climbing down to the hole. Do you know what that one is?
Yeah, funny enough, that's one of Shannon's favorite films. She loves it, and I have not seen the end of it, which I assume that's where the scariest part because all I saw was the setup. So I don't know really what happens once they descend.
You never saw The Descent.
Yeah. No,
full descent.
He saw the descent. He just didn't see anything else after that within the descent.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed the movie, and I think it would definitely be a different type of maze if they did it for Halloween Horror Nights, but it would be kind of kind of creepy, like you're basically spelunking, you're like in caverns and all that stuff, and then like throughout the first whole part it would just be like little hints of like, oh, what's that, or I thought I saw something, and then in the end like you get this really creepy, scary thing, so
it's a good ramp up from the beginning to the ending.
Yeah, I
think it would also lend itself to being a good maze that's really, 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 really dark.
Yeah, definitely.
Really, really dark. And they could have those bubble walls that are painted like rock or something, so you have to like kind of climb through the rock,
Yeah.
the bubble walls. They could have a scare in there somewhere.
Yeah,
I don't know.
You could have.
You mean like the tight balloon?
Yeah.
You could have the different 'cause people die throughout the movie. You could have women in various stages of distress, like screaming, or just so you have actors throughout the maze.
I'm the level 1 woman.
Was it only women in the film? Was that what?
Yeah, I think
there
it
was
was
a couple guys.
Wasn't it a group of women that went cave diving or
I'm
something?
pretty sure there was a couple guys.
I haven't seen it in years, but I thought it was just a group of women.
I could be wrong. I have no idea.
I don't know. Ask Shannon.
Yeah.
Shannon, tell us the answer, please. Shannon!
Well, anyway, yeah, that's my pick.
That's a good one.
Yeah, good.
That's a good one. Those monsters are super creepy, too.
They are.
They're terrifying. So imagine there's pitch black and then all of a sudden just light right on it, right in front of you.
Yeah.
Terrifying. Should I go traditional or should I go non-traditional?
Non-traditional.
Non-traditional, right?
So my pick for another house would be 7. I think 7 would be a really interesting opportunity to kind of delve into a maze that really doesn't have to do with any monsters. Kind of like us, what's it called? The Shining. The Shining had no monsters in it. It was all people.
Psychological
Stuff. 7 isn't really psychological. There's a lot of murder and visceral stuff involved.
Yeah.
But it's all just a few characters. But then each room you could have the different 7 deadly sins kind of happen in front of you.
Okay. It's been a long time since I watched the movie, so I'm trying to.
So
I just remember the
there's
end.
a killer killing somebody in the form of the 7 deadly sins.
Okay. Yeah. No. Yeah. That could definitely work. I feel like Scary Farm has had some kind of.
Well,
did they do something like that?
They had the deadly 7,
They had the
but it wasn't a
Deadly
maze.
Seven. It was like walk around characters, and each one was based.
No,
on
that's not what I'm thinking about. There was
There was Forevermore.
It was like a crime. No, it was sort of like a crime, like
Oh yeah, there was a
about
serial
catching a
killer.
serial killer.
Forevermore.
Yeah,
Is that
he
what
was
it's called?
killing.
Oh,
He was
okay.
killing people based on Edgar Allan Poe poems.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why it kind of similar.
Yeah.
So
That was a great maze.
And one thing that they could do what I thought they actually did a really good job last year is I've been having issues with their transitionary hallways for a couple of years now, but last year
the empty black.
Yeah.
in quotations, transitionary hallways
Gotcha.
in quotations. In Titans of Terror, they did a really good job in those hallways where they had different colored lights with different sound effects that went along with those lights because they're all attached to a certain character.
Right.
So if you had these 7 rooms, you would have a transitionary hallway into each one, and the light and the sound effects would be in conjunction with whatever room you're about to go into. So I think that would be a really cool opportunity to kind of delve more into that aspect of their transitionary hallways and have it actually mean something instead of it just being a black room. And then each room could kind of be a different color spectrum as well, because in the film it almost is.
Oh, okay.
So to a certain extent, not really. Everything's kind of like muddy, dark browns and greens and stuff like that, and blacks. Because that's just the way David Fincher likes to work.
That's like the color palette of the film. That's all I'm envisioning.
Yeah.
It's just that.
Yeah, I don't know. I know that the Lust one is like very pink. I know that the room is pretty pink and stuff like that. So there's some color play in there and that kind of stuff. And obviously you have a guy at the end with a box. And he's like, "What's in the box?"
Right.
Just crying out at the end, and that could be the end of the maze.
Yeah, that works.
There you go. What's your next one, James?
My next one is Dexter.
Oh, interesting.
Staying on the crime genre.
Yeah, I guess it goes
Yeah.
on with that. Yeah, no, the Dexter is definitely one of my all-time favorite shows, and again, I don't really know about the jump scare aspect of the house like that, but there's so many beautiful environments from some of the seasons.
Yeah.
It can almost be cool to go to be like a greatest hits kind of thing. It wouldn't really just be one story, but just to kind of, there's the season 4.
You could have his wife in the tub.
That's literally I said, wife in
Yeah.
the tub. Then the first season they had the guy that would cut up body parts and put them in freezers.
Uh-huh.
You can kind of experience all that. I was like, one of my all-time favorite shows, and probably is my favorite show, is Breaking Bad. So I was just, I thought about it for a while. And I was like, what?
No, it wouldn't work.
There's
But
nothing in that would work.
It's just every scare would be Jesse coming out going, "Bitch."
yeah.
That'd be.
I would go through that.
That'd be amazing. I mean, that'd be amazing just no matter what it was. But that's, it's cool. It's weird that haunts have blown up in the theme parks and there's so much, like the level of quality has gone through the roof. But there's so many other non-haunted environments that I would, films that I would love to experience.
You should make a non-haunt, like, maze, like, event.
Hell's Kitchen, the maze.
I want to experience that.
Kitchen Nightmares, the maze. Wow. Bar Rescue. Why am I thinking of all of the rescue shows?
Kitchen Nightmares was a great show.
Worst Cooks.
Worst Cooks, the maze.
Well, and another side note, one of the things that I've brought up several times on Creepy Kingdom is I wish Disney would do a Halloween event that is a similar type experience, not on the scare level, but on the
expansive
quality level.
Yeah.
Being able to walk through something. Well, number one, I wish they would do something different every year instead of doing the same exact stuff every year. But it would be so cool if it's like, oh, we get to walk through
the haunted, like the creepy forest from Snow White.
Yeah.
Or like Maleficent's trying to come get you.
Right.
The evil witch is trying to give you an apple. In
Disney, the Imagineers would be an incredible like walkthrough experience.
Yeah.
Like they don't touch any of that stuff.
Imagine a room with Trinabog in it. That would be terrifying.
Wow, yeah, that's probably too high on the scare level, because I know that's why they don't mess with that stuff, because they don't want to be known as the
scary part.
Yeah,
but I do think that you have a point. I think that during Halloween, I think they could definitely set a precedence in saying that, okay, Disneyland is the park where we're going to keep things for kids. DCA is the park where we're going to have something a little bit more adult for older kids. And that's not saying that we're going to have like chopped off heads and blood and gore and that kind of stuff. It's just we'll have walk around characters that are definitely scarier than most. We're going to have some walkthrough experiences that are going to be scarier than the normal attractions that we would have. This is where you can come to have an in-between of what Disney normally does in a Scary Farm or a Halloween Horror Nights. You have a mid-level between that, which, some kids might actually genuinely enjoy.
I mean, let's be honest, man. The Fantasyland dark rides are all essentially haunts.
They're terrifying.
I mean, I'm just talking about at that level, but make it a walk-through experience with the level that Halloween Horror Nights brings to it.
Yeah.
I completely agree. I think that would be fantastic. Nikki, they could easily just take all their character designs, like walk around character designs from the early 50s and 60s, and just have those walk around, and that would be terrifying.
It'd be so scary.
Nikki doesn't like fake characters walking around like Hollywood Boulevard or Santa Monica.
Oh, yeah,
Santa Monica Pier, Mickey and Minnie are the scariest things
sketchy,
ever. Yeah.
So the fact
Plus, they're probably full of diseases. Like, oh god,
there are probably homeless people under them. The fact that you've gotten so used to like a traditional Mickey and Minnie that when we have like the old Mickey and Minnie, it looks like
they're
the ones
creepy,
from Hollywood Boulevard.
Well, it was like recently Disneyland had like their throwback night, and I was hope if they would have said that they had those characters there, I would have fronted the money for it. That would have been enough to get me through the door. The old school sketchy scary. But they didn't, so they didn't get my money.
Anyway, let's get back on track. Nikki, what is your next one?
my last one.
That's your last one?
Oh yeah,
Yes.
but we need to do you have?
Oh no!
I don't have any runner-ups.
She only had 5, and we took 2 of them away.
Yeah.
Wow, we are so mean.
It's okay.
jerks.
It's okay. So my last one, and these were in no particular order because honestly, like you stole some of my top ones, but my last one is the Babadook.
Ah, you took that. It was on my list.
Yes.
Oh boy. So I haven't actually seen this.
It's good.
The Babadook isn't like your typical horror movie. It's very, very different. I wouldn't say that there's really any jump scares in it. It's more of a psychological thing, or psychological story, and also talking. And it's almost like the whole thing is like a metaphor for the mom going crazy.
Okay.
Which is kind of perfect. But what they do well is represent the idea of going crazy as the Babadook, and that's kind of where
He's like
the
a
monster
shadow
kind of comes
monster
in.
or something like that.
He's like a monster wearing a coat with a top hat, and he has like really long fingers and a white pale face. So he is a thing. He isn't like a shadow guy.
Oh, okay.
But he does stand in the shadows sometimes. But there
Yeah.
is plenty of opportunities to have him pop out and scare the
There
crap out
are
of you.
definitely, and I think just the whole like it's based on like the children's book, right, that she's reading to. So like that whole thing, like they could have someone like saying the book, like throughout the maze, just
Like voiceover.
yeah. And I just think it'd be really creepy. I think they can make it really, really creepy.
I do think that Universal Studios and John Murray does a really good job, and as well as everybody at Orlando, because we went last year for the first time, and this is a very good representation of what they did with The Shining, but kind of going more not direct representation of what the film is, but more of a artistic take on it.
Yeah.
So, like in Orlando for The Shining, you were walking through the carpet, like kind of design on the walls and stuff.
Right.
In this, what would be really cool is if you go through and you actually are walking into the book. Like each room, you're walking into a certain page of the book. And there's that story progression throughout the maze, so that you're still getting this story arc and what they do well, but you're also getting the progression of each page and how the Babadook kind of represents itself.
Yeah.
And so each room is a different kind of scare.
I think that'd be a really good take on it.
So that's a good one.
Yeah, that's
Nice.
my last one. I'm glad it was good.
So I'm going to say Ghostbusters.
Wow.
What?
Ghostbusters would be a really awesome maze.
Yeah, I would.
It'd be a fun one.
Plenty of awesome ghosts that are actually genuinely terrifying to look at. And plenty of humor to throw in with the characters, Venkman and everyone else in the movie. And you could have somebody who's slimed running at you or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Then there's a lot of really fun opportunities to play with environments where you can be in the long hallways of the hotel that they were in when they were trying to catch Slimer. Or you could be in the ballroom where Slimer's loose and you see Slimer above you or something. I don't think it's necessarily scary. There's not that much
the
jumping out.
librarian is pretty scary.
Yeah, well, see, that's what I was saying, is that like there's a lot of opportunity for ghosts that are actually terrifying.
Yeah.
I do have to say, if there's some way you could simulate the end of the film with the Stay Puft Marshmallow, similar to Alien vs. Predator at the end of that house, how they had the huge mother alien, or
Yeah.
if you had like a huge head of Stay Puft Marshmallow, like a 2 stories peeking up,
Like you're on the roof.
Yeah.
I think if they put this in a soundstage, I think that they have the opportunity to do something like that.
Yeah.
What I would do if I were the person designing it is that I would have Stay Puft Marshmallow Man like a couple rooms before the finale room, before you leave. And then the last 2 rooms is them exploding the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. And the last room, you have the Snope falling down.
Oh,
And then you have somebody who's covered in it. So that would be the end of the maze. But then you also have like Gozer, you have the terror dogs, you have a lot of opportunities to have some cool things happen. You could have Dana sitting in the chair and all the arms are like all over her, keeping her from getting up and things like that. It would be fun.
Yeah.
It isn't all that scary, yes, but it has some cool stuff in it.
But they do a good mix of that at Halloween Horror Nights.
Not really.
The fun and scary.
They did it only a few times, and the few times they have done it, it doesn't really do that well.
Well, it's not scary, but that's kind of what we're talking about. Like, I think one of the things that's coming to mind is This Is the End.
Yeah, that's mainly what I think
That one
about when it
wasn't
didn't do that well.
What was the one the year before that? The
That-
one the year before This Is the End we liked.
That was a funny one?
Yeah.
A funny
Yeah.
house that was before This Is the End? I don't have no clue. I can't think of it. I mean, I'm sure someone's screaming it at the radio right now.
Whatever it is, I think that's the year I didn't go, so I don't know.
What year was This Is the End?
I don't know. That was like 3-4 years ago, I think. Because I'm pretty sure they announced that at like Scare LA. I think.
I don't know.
I don't know.
But that it was way after This Is the End came out. It wasn't like
Yeah.
It wasn't with the film release.
No, not at all. Well, anyway, so moving on to James, you have your last one. So why don't you share some of your runners-up before sharing your last one that you want to choose?
Okay, well, now I only have 2 runners-up since Beetlejuice was the one that we all had. 2 runners-up, honorable mention. This one is really kind of obscure, but it's a film called The Lure.
The what?
Lure, L-U-R-E.
The lure?
Yeah.
Lure.
The lure? The lure?
The lure? I've never heard of that.
No, it's not very well known, but it was just kind of a left field one.
Oh,
it is
really, really far left field.
I'll tell you how far it is. The film, God, I think it's a Swedish film. And when I saw it, like, subtitled, like it wasn't overdubbed. So the film is Swedish, and it's also a musical, and it's about these two mermaids that take human form and start working in a strip club, and then kill all the people they come in contact with. And it's an incredible film.
So Species, but with mermaids.
And a musical.
And a musical.
And in Swedish.
And in Swedish. So much better than Species. Is what we're saying.
Pretty much. So, anyways, but this is honorable mention, so I'm not going to get into
so what's your next honorable mention?
My other one, which I'm not sure how they'd execute it, but I think it's such an iconic film that it could work, is Donnie Darko.
Oh, that's a fun choice. That's really, really fun.
So yeah, those are my honorable mentions there.
Okay, so what is your last choice?
This is my last choice, and I would say that this is my number one choice since I was saving it for last. And also will say that this was not on my list when we first came.
Striptease.
Yes, the striptease debate. Come on. Showgirls over striptease. I mean, come on.
Sorry. We're talking high-class movies
it's
here.
Showgirls.
High-class movies
That's my
here.
pick. No. It is the Monster Squad.
Oh, that's such a good choice. Monster Squad would be fantastic.
I mean, never... Oh, what's told? Nikki doesn't know, so we gotta share that.
It's fantastic because anytime Nikki doesn't know anything, I just see her eyes get really wide, and she just kind of looks at me with a tilt. It's like, I know she doesn't know what we're talking about.
Sorry.
So, well, that's good because maybe some of the other listeners don't know.
Yeah.
So I will say, Monster Squad is one of the most influential, iconic films of my childhood. Probably changed my life. It was released 86, I believe. I'm not sure, but essentially what Monster Squad is about is these group of kids get wind that all the classic monsters have come to life in their town.
Oh.
And they have to they band together to destroy them based on all of their knowledge of being, little horror fanatics.
So it's all of our dreams.
So it's perfect for a maze.
Right. Yeah, so initially when I could go off on this movie forever, and the film has developed such a cult following that even in the past, there's a documentary, and that's what happened, why I remembered that I should pick it, is that there's actually a documentary about it that I watched since the last time we were here. And I was like, why didn't I pick Monster Squad? It's such a perfect thing. And it's got so many great lines in the film, there's and what the name of this documentary is there's a scene where the Wolfman is about to attack them, and one of them says, it's like, what should I do? He's coming for me. And the other one says, kick him in the nards. He's like, Wolfman doesn't have nards. It's like, kick him in the nards. So he kicks him in the nards, quote unquote. He's like, Wolfman's got nards. And that's actually the name of the documentary. It's called Wolfman's got nards. And also, there's the little girl, his little sister, one of them keeps hanging around, and they always they're trying to get rid of her, and so they're like, he's like, God, can I be in your monster club? Like, no girls allowed, blah, blah, blah. But the little girl actually finds Frankenstein and becomes friends with Frankenstein. So
Frankenstein's
monsters. Well, yeah, but
sorry, I threw you off track.
You did.
I'm sorry.
None of these characters are called anything because it's not I think they just call him Frank. Creature. They don't say creature from the Black Lagoon. And it's cool because it kind of there's a scene that mirrors in the original Frankenstein where he comes across a little girl, and in the Frankenstein, he ends up killing the little girl because he doesn't know his own strength.
Yeah.
But they become best friends, this little girl and and Frank. He's like, can I be in your monster club? I got Frankenstein. But anyway, okay, that's enough about the movie. But I could talk about the movie forever. But the real thing about it is that Dracula is kind of spearheading bringing all of the monsters back, and they want to take over the world. And they need this special, this amulet to do that. And so there's just so many awesome opportunities for walkthroughs to recreate all of these scenes through the film, and also be the Universal monsters. I mean, essentially, because that's what it is. And the thing.
You should record yourself in doing that little girl voice, asking Universal to do this maze.
Can you do a Monster Squad maze for me, please?
Perfect.
Very nice. Thank you very much. I'll make sure to wrap that up and send it straight on over to them. I'm sure they'll do it next year.
Next time I see John Murdy, I will
John Murdy, can you please do this for me? He's just gonna be like, "What the hell is happening?"
Yeah, but the tease that I mentioned earlier when I said this was the one. This was filmed on the Warner Brothers backlot, and the big showdown at the end of the movie is actually in the middle of that where the courtyard, whatever it's called, where it was. And there's this guy he was in the Monster Squad, one of the kids who keeps getting teased. He has bullies messing with him the whole movie, and his name is Horace, the character. But every time these bullies would see him, they would just call him Fat Kid. So they're constantly, hey, Fat Kid, blah, blah, whatever. So at the end of the movie, Horace, he has a shotgun. God, this is a kid's movie.
The 80s, it was a wonderful time, my friends. The 80s.
He ends up shooting the mummy and essentially saving the bullies because they were right near where it was.
Yeah.
And then so the bully goes and was like, hey, it's like, good job, Fat Kid. And then Horace, he takes the shotgun,
he cocks
it, and he goes, my name is Horace. And I had the thrill of recreating that scene exactly where it was filmed when I went to that Warner Bros. And I recorded it. I'm literally watching the scene on YouTube to see exactly where it was filmed, and then I found where it was filmed, and I just personally recreated it.
Very nice childhood dream come true.
Yeah, so that was pretty awesome. But and to tie it all really together, unfortunately that actor passed away really young from pneumonia.
Yeah,
but he went to my high school.
Oh wow!
Oh, crazy!
So I didn't personally know him, but it's just kind of, so it's really all tied deeply into
why
my
it makes
childhood.
sense for this to be your number one pick. That's awesome. That's a great number one pick. I think that's fantastic that it has so many different meanings to you.
Oh yeah,
So that's awesome. I have a couple runners up for mine, just a couple. So one of my runners up is Psycho. I think Psycho would be a really cool movie to do in black and white as well.
Yeah.
Another black and white house.
I almost put that on my list too. Mm-hmm. Almost.
So Psycho's one of them. Another one of them is Hellraiser. I think Hellraiser would be an awesome opportunity to do something super gory and gross to the nth degree. Like something nuts.
A little too sexual.
Yeah.
A little bit. They could kind of, move around those bits, literally and figuratively. Something I didn't write down, but I thought about after a while, because I think about it every now and again, is actually doing a maze that's based off of all the monsters from Doctor Who. Because they're all terrifying.
Yeah, I almost put that down too. When I said earlier how I wanted to do something based off a TV show, Doctor Who popped in my head. But I didn't know if you could do it without it being really cheesy.
Well, imagine a room where the lights keep turning on and off,
and
but the weeping angels move closer to you as soon as the lights are on.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, something like that, or you have a room full of silence that are like upside down and like all over the place. You could even have Daleks in there at some point. Yeah. There's a multitude of monsters from the Doctor Who universe that you can kind of mess around with and play with and have a really good time doing. And it doesn't even necessarily have to follow like a storyline. You know, John Murdy and Chris Williams can create their own storyline for whatever that is. Just place them in there because they're terrifying. Whatever it may be, just put them in. It's cool.
I mean, the show's so popular. I'm sure it's
been contemplated,
been discussed.
Yeah,
I'm sure that's probably been on their table at some point or another. Yeah. Actually, one more runner-up that is rumored heavily to be coming to Halloween Horror Nights this year, which is Lost Boys.
Yeah, I've been hearing that rumor pretty hard.
That rumor has been really hitting the circuits massively.
That would be really fun.
I know that they were saying like it was coming, and then they said that got canned, and then that got replaced with Lost Boys and all this stuff. So I'm not sure what's happening, but Lost Boys would make an awesome maze and just kind of bring it back to like a really cool, solid vampire maze, and not have to worry about having the cheesiness and terribleness that was Dracula Untold.
I don't think
you should be lucky that you didn't go through that. That was real bad.
But that was like when the movie came out, right? So
once again, it was basically just the trailer, but it was just really bad, really bad.
So what's really important though, if we're gonna have a Lost Boys house, is either it's the end or begin with the saxophone guy.
You can't have the movie without the saxophone guy. If anything, the saxophone guy should be in every scene, just in the corners.
I would never. I was going to say I wouldn't have a problem with that, but I don't know. Maybe I would.
They have the bridge scene where they're all hanging onto the bridge, and then the saxophone guy.
Well, saxophone guy is like in my head as I navigate through life. So it's kind of a similar thing.
I strive my life to be like the saxophone guy. Anyway, okay, my official number one pick for Halloween Horror Nights would be It.
Yep.
Literally It. So I don't want people to say, It what? It what, Gabe? No,
It what?
It. Pennywise the Clown. It. So what I think would be an absolutely awesome idea, and I know I've said this plenty of times on the show before, and I think I've said it on somebody else's show as well, is it would be a very smart idea and something that's never been done before, is take both the original and the remake maze, or the remake movie rather, and have an option. So it's all one maze where you get to choose a path. So you enter the maze and you kind of experience, like, say, like and Halloween Horror Nights does this really well, where they're like the opening to their maze or the front of their maze really sets the tone. So like for 1 year for Friday the 13th, I think they did the campgrounds for Camp Crystal Lake, and there was lightning and thunder and rain sound effects and stuff like that. You could easily have like rain and thunder sound effects, like it's raining, but you're going through a gutter, like a giant gutter or something like that, or you're just outside and you have to choose between these two entrances, whether you want to relive the remake or you want to relive the original, and you can have each one dedicated to each film. So you have the iconic moments from the original where you have like that mummy walking down the stairs, or you have Pennywise coming out of the drain in the shower, or you have the sewer scene where he's about to eat the kid and they shoot the metal at his head and he starts exploding. You know, the deadlights going through the tubes. The remake where you have the projector scene, which lends itself really well to a Halloween Horror Nights maze. Or you have the scene where everything's floating and he's actually dancing, or where they're fighting the kids. So there's a lot of really fun options in there, and I don't know why that's never been done before. It's like a choose your own adventure, like which one do you want to go in? And it would make people want to come back to experience both, because they're both two separate houses just within one entity of it. Right. So I don't know. But anyway, I mean, I think we all came. I'm sorry, Nikki, we took a lot of yours.
That's okay. That just means they were good ideas, right?
That's true. Yeah. Great minds
and I didn't
think alike.
And it's my bad for not having any fallbacks. Yeah, I only had 5.
Well, have you thought about any since we've been talking about some? Have you thought of any that you would put on your list that you didn't?
All the ones that I said along the way.
Spice World.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
That's a horror movie in its own right.
I love it. It's so bad it's good. But no, like just all the ones. Yeah.
Big Spice Girls fan.
Great film, great picture, great
Seriously,
picture.
as the only girl in the room, I really did love the movie, but
No, I literally love Spice Girls. So.
Really?
The London Olympics when they like
London Olympics, the maze?
no the London
Oh.
Olympics when they got back together was literally like one of the best moments ever, and they also had Doctor Who references in there. So, big side note, but yeah, no, it just along the way, just as you two were talking, I said all the ones that I had also thought of, So yeah, I had a lot of ones that didn't make the list, but I didn't even write them down, but they got said anyway. So
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just glad that we all had relatively different ideas of what we wanted to see kind of happen at a Halloween Horror Nights.
yeah.
It would be terrible if we literally all had the same movies on our list.
Right.
What's the fun in that?
No, I mean, yeah, we're open to anything, right? So possibilities are.
I mean, if we're talking about Plan 9 from Outer Space, the maze, yeah, I think we're pretty open to a lot of things.
That'd be incredible.
Yeah.
I do want to throw a few out that Shannon said that she wanted.
Oh
to.
yeah.
Nope, show over. Sorry, bye, James. Go for it.
Well, Shannon's favorite thing on Earth is trick or treat.
Well, that's happening.
Yeah.
But she told me this before the announcement. So, whatever. But another one of her favorite films is Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Oh, I don't know why. I had that on my old list, dude.
Wait, didn't
I had
they
that on my
do
old
that?
list. No, they didn't. They did not do Killer Clowns from Outer Space. They've never done that.
Oh, okay. So you remember how I was saying that there was one kind of funny maze the year before This Is the End?
Yeah.
It was Clowns 3D.
Oh, yeah. No, it wasn't. Was it Clowns 3D?
Yeah, it was Clowns 3D.
I thought, was it called something? Are you sure it was called that? Because it was the ice cream one, right? It was the
Yeah.
ice cream company where the clown made ice cream, but then all of a sudden he started killing people and putting them in ice cream.
Yeah.
And, like the first hallway smelled like cotton candy or
Well,
something.
it was Clowns 3D because I looked it up.
I
also.
didn't
was
go through that.
I was just trying to say it organically.
It was a really well done maze. I actually really enjoyed it.
And it was fun. It was bright. It was scary because it was clowns, but it was
on the lighter side.
on the lighter side, and so that's what I was referencing when I was talking about the one before This Is the End.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Halloween Horror Nights, if you're listening, do more original mazes because you're good at them. Really, really good at them.
Yeah, so is Orlando, by the way.
Yeah, Orlando's
great
fantastic.
at it.
I just kind of I don't know why or Hollywood doesn't do more of that because every single original maze has been fantastic.
We love the
La Llorona,
La Llorona and the pumpkin one. I can't remember the name of it.
pumpkin one. Oh,
Yeah.
a boogeyman.
Boogeyman.
El Cucuy.
El Cucuy, yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Anyway, what's the next one on our list?
There's only two more. One was, I don't even know what this is. The Strangers Pray at Night.
Oh, The Strangers. It's the sequel to Strangers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's with the masks and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but yeah, I can see that.
Which they've had The Strangers at Halloween Horror Nights before, but she wants specifically the sequel.
Yeah, I haven't seen the sequel. She saw it without me, and she really liked it. And the other one is going back to Guillermo, which is In the Mouth of Madness.
Wow. That would be an interesting maze. Okay, Shannon. Whatever you want.
She told me these things. I was like, I'm going over to talk about what IPs, and she's like, okay, here's mine. Like I didn't ask her for it.
I didn't ask you for these. And
But I thought they were worth mentioning since none of them came up. So
Yeah.
well, Trick or Treat was on my original list, but I took it off because it's happening.
It's happening, yeah.
And Killer Clowns from Outer Space is a fantastic choice. It was on my original list. I just honestly forgot about it. There's a lot of opportunities within that to also be kind of silly, scary as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, all these ones are so cool. And if anybody's listening right now that's been shouting at the radio saying, "Why haven't you said this?" Let us know. What IP would you love to see as a haunted house at Halloween Horror Nights, either in Orlando or Hollywood? Let us know and send us some messages on social media. And we would love to say thanks to James for stopping by and sitting down with us and chit-chatting about Plan 9 from Outer Space, the maze, Striptease, the maze, and all the other ridiculous maze ideas that we came up with. And James, can you please let everybody know where they can find you on social media as well as Creepy Kingdom and Foolish Mortals?
Sure. We can say one last thing now.
No, James, you've said enough. You've said enough this episode. Trying to be nice.
Is that I want either in Halloween, I don't even care if it's in Hollywood or Orlando, I want a Dementor attack at the Wizarding World during Halloween Horror Nights.
Yes.
Like Japan does.
I've been saying that for years. I think.
I don't know.
Nikki doesn't even know how long she's
I don't
been
know
asking
why
for it.
they have allowed it to happen in Japan, but JK is not allowed it to happen in the United States. But anyway,
It doesn't even have to be Dementors for me to be happy. Just stick some Death Eaters in there. Like, honestly, just utilize the space. But you know,
especially in Orlando with Nocturne Alley.
Yeah.
Like I want. I mean, anyways, I figured it was relevant to bring up. I wasn't gonna say full on Harry Potter maze.
No, of course not. But I think that's a perfect example of something that they can utilize a pre-existing area for as a scare zone.
Yeah.
And it would be awesome, and it wouldn't be scary per se, but it would still be really freaking cool.
It'd be awesome.
All right, I guess I should give him my plug. Since
Yes, please give us your plug. See what you do to us. See what you do to us.
I could talk about this stuff for hours, but 3 hours on this. No, anyways, if you would like to, you can follow Creepy Kingdom on all social media with Creepy Kingdom, or go to creepykingdom.com, or wherever you listen to podcasts, type in the words Creepy Kingdom, and you'll find us right there waiting for you.
And what about Foolish Mortals?
And Foolish Mortals, we're on social media, and it's basically like Haunted Mansion tribute. It's like barely about the movie. We're like constantly posting about Haunted Mansion. So if you love Haunted Mansion, it's Foolish Mortals Doc and Foolish Mortals D on Twitter, and foolishmortalsdoc.com is the place to go. You can sign up for our mailing list to find out when we're gonna have a screening and when the DVDs will be for sale. That's the easiest thing to do, is just sign up for the mailing list, and as soon as that information is available, go straight to your inbox.
Sweet.
I love those emails. Anyway, thank you again for joining us on the show. It was awesome having you here.
Yeah.
The pleasure is all on this side of the table.
That was a seriously ridiculously fun episode.
Yeah. It was super fun.
I don't think I've laughed as much as I did with James. That was ridiculous. But thank you again to James for coming on with us and shedding movie dorkiness that we want to see at Halloween Horror Nights. And hopefully Halloween Horror Nights is listening, maybe. Who knows? I doubt it. John Murdy and everybody else in Orlando are busy doing their own thing. But Nikki, guess what?
What?
We have some 5-star written reviews to be reading.
Yay! Some? More than one?
2.
Ooh!
We have 2 5-star written reviews. One is from a fan that lives in the UK, and then one is from here in the States.
International.
So I would like to say, if anybody from the UK is listening and you're going to be leaving us 5-star written reviews, your form of iTunes is different. So if I just sign on to iTunes, I don't see your review. So if you do leave a review that's written in 5 stars, do let us know on social media or email us so that we can look. Because it isn't like a normal thing for me to be looking there. The last 2 times it's happened, somebody's told me.
Yeah.
So.
But it's a nice surprise.
Oh, it always is. So definitely make sure to let us know. But on to the 5-star written reviews. We have one from Jared, and it says, most fantastic podcast duo. These two are incredible. Their energy is contagious. The subject content is perfectly on point, and they do a very good job of keeping it fresh. Keep it up. I'm slowly going back and listening to all you two have put out.
Aw, that's nice.
Thank you so much, man. Shout out to you for writing a 5-star review for us. Hopefully we're living up to that high standard.
Yeah.
Which half the time I don't think we are, but I'm glad that you think it is.
I tell you all the time, I'm still in that phase of like, people want to hear what I have to say. But you know what? It's okay.
Well, maybe they just want to hear what I have to say. They just have to put up with what you're saying.
Maybe that's it.
Or it's the other way around. Maybe they just put up with me to get to you.
Or maybe we're only good together.
Oh, we're bad apart.
Yeah.
We're not balanced at all. We're not balanced.
You were going to do this episode with just James, and I was like, I think I should be there.
No.
I did.
No.
I did.
Okay, fine.
I did. You had a we should tell them that you had a pretty funny gag that you were gonna do where James was gonna pretend to be me and you just act all shocked, like at our intro.
Yeah, it just didn't work out.
No, well, because we had to record it differently. But,
Yeah. Anyway, we have another review.
Oh yeah. So our international review, all the way from England, is from Maddie Cool 190, and it says, "Love your podcast, makes my day. Awesome to listen to other nerds."
Woo!
Yay! Thank you, fellow nerds.
We're nerds.
Yeah.
Big nerds about the theme park world.
Yeah.
And much else. Movies. Disney. Toys.
Everything.
A lot of things.
Yeah.
A lot of dorky, nerdy stuff in our lives.
Yeah. I could delve into like Hayao Miyazaki and all that.
Yeah,
too,
let's
but-
not get into that.
No, well, hey, that might be a theme park pretty soon, and then we get to talk about it.
Yeah, that's
all
fine
the
until
time.
that day comes. Till that day comes.
Totoro.
Calcifer. I don't know. I didn't. That was
May
the
all
first.
your bacon burn.
For all the people who know what we're talking about. Moving on. Thank you for leaving those 5-star reviews, everybody. And if you want to leave us a 5-star review, go over to iTunes and write up one there. We'll give you a shout out here on the show, or just leave a 5-star review, which also really helps us, just simply based on the fact that it raises us up in the standings in iTunes, helps it for other people to find us and enjoy us like you are right now.
Yeah.
So, also, if you want to follow us on social media, we're kind of all over the place when it comes to social media. We're on the Facebooks, we're on the Twitters, we're on the Instagrams, we're on the Periscopes.
Why are you saying it like that?
I don't know.
Okay.
I have no reasoning. You ask me why I do things, and I don't ever have reasons. I
That's
just
true.
do things.
That's true.
And like the Joker, I just do things. So, we're on all those social media platforms under Theme Park Duo, so just give us a search and give us a follow. And if you want to reach us, you could always email us at
themeparkduo@gmail.com.
Thank you once again, everybody, for tuning in for another episode. I know that this one was a little bit longer than most, but I hope that it was worth your time and effort and maybe your eardrums. I'm not quite sure. But
We laughed a lot.
yes, we
Yeah.
did. But thank you again, and always remember, there's always a great, big, beautiful tomorrow. See ya!
Thanks for riding with the Theme Park Duo. Make sure to gather all your belongings before the end of the podcast. Bye-bye.
Can you do a Monster Squad maze for me, please?
Perfect.
Very nice. Thank you very much. I'll make sure to wrap that up and send it straight on over to them. I'm sure they'll do it next year.
Next time I see John Murdy, I will just,
John Murdy, can you please do this for me?
please?
He's just gonna be like, what the hell is happening?